Hey guys, what's up? It's Tova, back again with another astrology video. This time we are talking about the Leo new moon solar eclipse, which is occurring at 20 degrees of Leo in your chart. So check where Leo is, what house that is, and find 20 degrees and see what planets or angles are located there and what aspects are being made to that degree. That will show you the theme that is being brought up to you for the beginning of a big plot change in your life at this time that may occur quickly or could occur as more of a slow burn over the next 6 months until the next eclipse cycle. Think of it as almost a mini solar return, where this energy is coloring the next 6 months of your life and the ways in which things in your personal life and also the collective experience on the planet will be changing from here on out. Mercury, Jupiter, this solar eclipse, and the South Node are now all in Leo. Remember that Leo is the sign of expression, creation of art, performative arts, being social, partying, being the center of attention, putting yourself out there, showing people who you are unapologetically, and feeling that freedom of standing in your own light and power. With all these planets here, we're being shown an interesting juxtaposed sort of theme that is being initiated right now and will carry us through, like I said, at least the next 6 months. The way we communicate with each other or communicate to the public out there in the world with what we are creating is asking to be aligned with a belief system that supports us in expressing ourselves in a way that isn't toxic or fake or controlling. As the South Node moves through Leo over the next year and a half, we are going to see the shadow side of Leo popping up very clearly in ourselves and in the world with people who are usually in the public eye potentially falling from grace in some way or suddenly losing credibility because they weren't doing things authentically or truthfully. If we think about the outer world as a mirror for our own personal experiences, this could show you where in your life you have behaved inauthentically, maybe out of fear of being disliked, or where in your life you hid your gifts or your creative talents due to some shadow aspect of you that maybe you haven't fully faced or dealt with yet. The only actual aspect directly to this eclipse is a loose trine to Saturn, which has been retrograde in Aries since July 26th. What I've been noticing with Saturn retrograde this year is that issues that may have been hanging over your head to deal with are now finally getting a good opportunity to be dealt with. Think car repairs, work-related tasks that are maybe more long-term, dealing with institutions or stuff you have an account for, like insurance, maybe dealing with medical issues that have taken a long time to get handled, etc. This eclipse in trine to this retrograde Saturn is emphasizing that the technical things in our lives that have been holding us back or living in the background of our minds waiting to be dealt with are going to need to get dealt with now and not later. To me, it looks like a literal door unlocking to where you can finally talk to the person you need to talk to, or sign the paperwork that needs to be signed, or pick up or drop off something that needs to get fixed. Whatever was previously blocked or being held up is getting this ease of motion to go ahead and finally be resolved now. The basket formation we were talking about last month has loosened and Jupiter has moved on. The aspects are no longer exact besides the ongoing Neptune sextile Pluto, which has been about the ongoing societal transformations we have started to see align more with a returning to and the reinventing of the metaphysical understanding of reality as a blueprint for building the future. This aspect has actually been in progress since the 1940s, but is exact from now until 2032. This aspect is also partly responsible for the rise of AI, but at the same time, the rise of more widespread eco-consciousness and a more public embrace of alternative and more earth-based healing methods like somatic ecology and forest bathing. There's a lot more we could go into about that specific transit, but let's focus on the other exact aspects supporting this eclipse. Venus is in Libra now, which is a positive shift in the energy that is making us more open to being social, romantic, and more inclined toward negotiating or being diplomatic in some way. During this eclipse, however, Venus is trine Uranus exactly, which is bringing more of a shock or upheaval energy to Venus. There's what they call a mini grand trine going on with that aspect that involves Mercury at the apex at 5 degrees of Leo, emphasizing the communicative actions that are available to us right now to express ourselves honestly and in a sudden but amicable way in some part of our lives. That area will be different depending on where those 3 planets are falling in your birth chart right now. If we give this aspect a bit of a wider orb, it's creating a double kite formation that brings Pluto and Neptune back into the picture. So this eclipse moment is not just giving us a new start for Leo in the next 6 months, but it's also opening up an interesting window of time where the relationships we are in or the people we talk to potentially about our career or business related changes we want to make, or maybe even just our own inner spiritual journey, is having some kind of breakthrough. Mars will also have just gone into Cancer at this eclipse, and Mars is in what is called fall essential dignity in Cancer, which means that it is not in a place where it can be at its full power. It's debilitated, it doesn't have the same ability to take action and be empowered in a sign like Aries or Scorpio, where it's the most powerful. So whenever Mars is in Cancer, our actions we can take on any given day could be completely dependent upon our emotional state, or what's going on with our family, or how deeply empathetic we're feeling for someone else to our own detriment. We are in our feelings sometimes way too much with this transit. And it's sextile Chiron, which is triggering an opportunity to actually heal some of the issues that we have been encountering since Chiron went into Taurus back on June 19th. Scarcity mindset, fear of losing resources, maybe even feeling paralyzed to act for fear of losing something or losing money. These are all themes that have been coming up that are going to be triggered again. And Chiron has been retrograde now since last week on August 3rd. So that process of going back over these feelings of being wounded by this sense of loss or scarcity to reevaluate them and understand them more for what they are instead of this vague cloud of fear and stress is already happening. Mars being in Cancer sextile this right now at this eclipse moment where we're being shown this new way to express ourselves or come into our own in some part of our lives is highlighting that our wounds are not actually something we need to hide or be afraid of. People care about authenticity. People want to connect with others who share their same wounds so they can be in a healing space with people who understand them. The worst thing you can do right now is self-isolate and think that no one is going to understand what you're going through. Social media only shows so much. This Venus-Mercury-Uranus says reach out to your friends, your family even, get closer with your romantic partners, and let them know that you are there and that you are looking for mutual support. Whenever planets are in Leo and Libra, it always makes me think of a really strong friend group where they have fun, but they also really support each other. Do you have any connections in your life you can rely on right now instead of trying to do it all on your own? The 2 planets in Aries right now are retrograde. Any solo work you are doing right now is a deeper, long-term internal journey. What you're doing in the outside world when you leave your house every day are the things you can and should have some help with if you can find it. Seek support in any way that you feel comfortable doing so. Even if that's just having a friend or family member on the phone with you while you do something that might be scary or triggers this Chiron and Taurus wound of fear or loss, having that other person there in some way is going to be a massive boost of confidence and feeling safe that I think can be really healing right now. Mars in Cancer is kneecapping our ability to just get out there and get stuff done without some emotional encouragement. Definitely be gentle with yourself at this time and don't try to take on too much. We are dealing with long-term, big world changes, and those are filtering down into each of us in ways that we don't fully understand yet. We are being changed as a collective in ways that no one person can handle on their own. You absolutely need some kind of support. The last aspect I want to mention before we wrap up the video is that Black Moon Lilith is square this retrograde Saturn. There may be a situation that comes up at this eclipse where you have to set aside this need to rebel against authority to be able to get the ball rolling on cleaning up the mess of whatever old thing that needs to be resolved or has an opportunity to. You may need to deal with an institution that you absolutely despise or deal with a person who represents the old guard in some way to be able to get your task done and get the monkey off your back regarding that thing. Treat this as a way for you to tame that part of yourself that wants to do its own thing to a fault. Recognize that if you get this thing done and get it away from your psyche or your daily life forever, that the space left behind is going to feel so freeing and will enable you to really get the ball rolling on this Leo stuff you want to get done structurally. So that's just a little tip about a smaller aspect that might bring something up for you, especially if you have planets or angles at 13 degrees Capricorn or 14 degrees Aries. I notice there are no exact quincunxes in this chart, and overall most of the aspects are positive or easy moving. So I would encourage everyone to see this time period as showing you different opportunities for you to take that next step you've been desiring for a long time, specifically towards self-expression and being authentic in who you are or what you want to do in your life. I also encourage everyone to try to take things slow. Be kind to yourself, don't talk badly about yourself, try not to let the self-sabotaging behavior win this time around. Choose to take the scary action even if you don't feel ready. The planets are saying, it's time now. The door is open. You just have to walk through. You can shed the old stuff that isn't working anymore, or you can at least acknowledge it and move forward anyway. We're at the beginning of the lunar cycle again. So the thing you want to create is going to be front and center now as an idea, not as a finished product. Use the lunar cycle, this powerful eclipse cycle between now and the Pisces full moon eclipse in 2 weeks, to take each step with care and try to feel into each point in the cycle to understand how you act and react to things and how your feelings shift and change around what it is you are trying to create. I recently made something I'm calling the Hero's Lunar Journey, which is a circle graphic that explains the lunar cycle in steps similar to the hero's journey. If you'd like to learn more about that, check out the link in the description to a blog post I made on my website discussing it more in detail. It's also the foundation of the oracle deck I've been working on for a long time called Journey of the Wolf. I'm wishing everyone a wonderful Leo new moon eclipse. One thing I will leave you with is an affirmation I used at a Leo new moon years ago, which goes, "The things that I want are attainable." This might seem like a really simple thing or a no-brainer, but sometimes it's important to remind ourselves that what we want to do in our lives is actually reachable. And the fact that we want to experience that thing in our lives, like being a publicly recognized artist, or having a specific very positive living situation, or being in a really great relationship, is truly possible for us, and hope is not lost. Please drop a like on this video, share it if it helped you, comment if you'd like, and subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this. I'll see you guys on the next one.